why lowest price ain't the winning play. And I got this idea from I was watching a video of Ricky. I think it was like 2 days ago. Ricky put it out on his channel, and I believe the title is "The Truth About Junk Removal Pricing: Why High Prices Miss the Mark." And I started listening to it, and I just was like in shock at what he's saying on there. I couldn't even believe it. That the first thing I did was I sent you the clip, and I was like, bro, would you like to be a guest on? I think you are the perfect person to answer back to this and all. So yeah, you got to watch the video. Mr. Yee, did you get to see that video that I'm talking about from Ricky?
I got to indulge in the video.
So what's your guys' thoughts before I say anything? What's your guys' thoughts on that?
I think it's funnel. I think it's getting a lot of people to funnel to his channel. And who isn't going to watch somebody talking crazy and just saying, how in the F are you even doing this? How are you staying in business? What the F? Are you crazy? I think it's a marketing tool. And I I can't even speak no more on that.
I want to ask everybody in the chat, what's your thoughts? Because I'm going to sum up, the video real quick before we hear from Kevin. And, what Ricky was saying in there was, the truth is that the only thing that really matters to people, no matter who you are, is the lowest price. And he was just like, it doesn't matter. We're doing junk removal. You could go to a millionaire. It doesn't matter. All that millionaire is going to do is pick the cheaper price and all. And when he's saying this, what's going through my mind is then how is 1-800 Got Junk the king? They are the most expensive. Everything's about the brand. And I mean, I see some of their prices, and it's almost like double the price of what others in the area are charging. You know what I mean? And I also just heard you say earlier on our interview that they're servicing 50 to 70 jobs a day. So something is not right in Ricky's logic there. And
Well, maybe not in my area, 50 to 70 jobs a day. Maybe
No,
not
not in
in
every
my
area. Not in
area.
every area. No, no,
Because
no,
I see
no.
him parked at Safeway all the time.
Yeah, here's the thing, guys. In Ricky's words, the true value of the service is the price. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is, if you're listening, Ricky, that is complete and utter bullshit. If that's your mindset, you're going to fail right off the bat. If you believe that the value to the junk removal customers that we use is pricing, then you're gonna fail. That's the way. I talked about what real value is to the customer. The value is your solution to them. The real value lies in your experience, your convenience, the trust, your professionalism, and and that's what the customer receives, and that's what they're looking for. They have a challenge, and they're looking for a solution. That's the value you give to them. That's what they pay for. Pricing is not the value. And he's talking about even these rich folks, that's the value to them is the price. Bullshit. How many rich people you see driving around fucking Honda Accords? Okay. They're going to be, if they have a choice between a Honda Accord and a Mercedes C-Class, what do you think they're going to pick?
Also,
Why is that? Why are they going to pick it? The quality, the craftsmanship, the reputation.
customer
And that's what it's
service.
about. It's the reputation of the company. They want that quality. They'll pay for quality.
I want to
That's why
give
they're
an
not driving.
example too, because I know he was giving out a bunch of examples of why he was right and all, but I want to give, the other side also. You know, as far as when you go to like, where you're getting commercial accounts, with the realtors, the HOAs, and your commercial clients, they're more concerned about the trust, you having insurance, showing up on time, rather than saving a couple of dollars. You know what I mean?
It's the convenience that you can give to them and that peace of mind. That's what's important to them, that you can do it professionally without damaging their property. The money is not as important to those commercial clients. Believe me, I used to freaking charge them more than I would my residential customers, and they would pay it because of the convenience that I offer them. The reputation that we had as a company, we had professionals out there taking care of it. So, to me, yeah, if you if you're not establishing the value of your service, then yeah, pricing is going to be the only value to them. But
But
and that's where
the
we're going to
problem
fuck
with
up.
that, the problem with that is what I see is now if price is the main value, you're going to lose every time that a crackhead down the block that's willing just to go get his next fix. So
Yeah.
Ricky, if that's if that's what you're trying to do is the lowest price wins, so then how come the crackhead isn't the king of junk removal in the area? Because he's willing to go lower than anybody else. Now the other problem that I see, and I think Ricky's kind of experiencing it. Ricky's been in 18 years. I don't really see much scaling going on. I see him doing the licensing and all that, what he's doing, but I don't see scaling. And the reason why I don't see scaling is what you're doing to yourself is your
Yeah.
prices are too low. There's no room to scale. There's no margins for growth. So
Yeah. And
that's why you're doing the same thing for 18 years, running
and think about
around
it
like a
this way.
chicken with no head.
Think about it this way. I saw a video that he posted one time a few months back, and he was talking about, he was bragging about doing 5 to 6 jobs a day. And I'm like, if you're only doing 5 to 6 jobs a day after 18 fucking years, there's a problem. I don't know. I don't know his story. Maybe years ago he was doing it at a higher level, blah, 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 and decided, you know what? I'm done. Just, I'm just going to do the bare minimum, whatever. He 18 years, he does no branding. Even though he's got a great brand, he doesn't utilize it. If he's only doing 5, 6 jobs a day after 18 years, then he's definitely not doing something right. And we shouldn't be taking his advice on anything, to be
I,
honest.
I
Well,
agree.
I seen on one of his videos, I think the latest video was that he's talking and mentioning a lot of people are like I think he said, which was nice, casting the net. And a lot of people are casting the net to get those bigger jobs in those bigger areas with the richer people who have more money. And he said a lot of times people are, their phone's not ringing because they're targeting a certain job, a certain price, a certain area. But his phone is ringing so much because he targets the low income areas
Yeah,
that
you got to
do.
target everything.
But I'm just saying that
Yeah.
that's what he said, that he's like, I don't care what you guys do. I'm targeting the low income areas. So therefore the $45 refrigerator removal might be working with him on that angle when you're targeting
But
the
what
low
he's
Yeah.
income
But
what
areas.
also
he's
remember,
targeting also the price shoppers. You're literally going prices, all that matters. And you also got to remember, which he doesn't understand or see at all, when he's filming, when he goes up to these clients and the way that he talks to these people, that's right there the worst thing that you could do to somebody.
Are
You
we to
see the
believe that?
lack of professionalism. I mean, it's insane. I just watched like a video, I think it was like a couple of days before that, where he had the customer actually loading his van up for him and was kind of like clowning him, and I'm just like, is this really going on right now? So it's like, I don't think he even sees it being a problem. I don't realize that he doesn't think, it's not professional at all. He insults his clients, which I would never do. It's the stuff that I see. It's like everything that I would think that Kevin would teach in a franchise not to do. Watch this guy, watch this video, and do not ever do anything he ever does on a job site, because you will be instantly fired. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
remember, this guy's in a a major metropolitan city here, Dallas, Fort Worth, and 18 years, and he's only doing this amount in this huge fucking city. I mean, Jesus, I live out in the fucking country and I do better than that. So it's like, I don't know what to think. It blows my mind. I don't know what the hell's in that guy's head. I don't know. He's a little touched or what's going on, but
It's
I
the
think
ego, man. It's I see some people, the ego, it kicks you in your own dick. Excuse my language, but I believe that's what it is, man. It's like he gave an example today of a job that he made. It was one of the commercial jobs, and I think it was on the Mastermind that he put out. And he was saying how he underpriced the job just to get the job, and that it wasn't worth it at the end of the day. And I'm just there scratching my head like, what was the purpose of doing it? What did you gain from that? besides just burning yourself out, you got like a ridiculous garbage job. I mean, I think it was like 70 yards to the elevator, and then from elevator it was 100 yards to the truck. Like, it was just crazy. And he's like, I kind of screwed myself, taking such a low price on it, but at least I got the job. I'm just like, what are we here to do, man? Is it more of an ego stroke, or are we here to make money? I mean,
Well,
business, you're here to make money.
I think I think maybe he's a very good actor, and I think a lot of
I hope that's the case.
a lot of what we see what he does is the big jobs. Yes, I just seen him. He posted, I got the big $17,000 job. Yes, the whole retail store, but you don't see him in action, and you don't see how he hired maybe 5 different haulers that got a cut of the job too. So I don't think, he says he works by himself. We see some work with him with his son, but then a lot of work we don't see. We just hear about, oh, I got this big job, I got this, but how much did you bring home though?
But if you judge by looking back, man, and you just see somebody doing something for 18 years and think they are the king and have figured it all out, and it's like, he really hasn't. I mean, you could have did the exact same he did for 18 years, working a union job, never having the stresses of running your own business. Like, he took away the whole benefits of having your own business is to really make the money on it rather than having a 9-to-5 job. He made his business more into a 9-to-5 job. And I don't get it, man. With 18 years, and you act like you figured it all out, and you're going around telling everybody that you should lowball. That's the way. You shouldn't have a logo truck. You shouldn't have uniforms. And then I watched that he has a mastermind group, and they call it the mastermind group, and they let him just go sit there and go on for like an hour saying this bullshit, spewing. And I'm like, is it nobody else realize? Like, wouldn't you stop him or be like, yo, why am I even in this group, bro? This is no mastermind.
And they're paying him.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I didn't know that whole part. Wait, so they're paying him to be in that mastermind?
Well, that mastermind group is the people that he's licensing his name to.
Yeah, his other franchise or whatever he says.
So that's the people that are in that mastermind group. They're paying him for his name and for his advice. That's the scary part.
I think 80% of Ricardo's videos is just him rambling, and then 20% is, oh yeah, let me talk about junk removal. So he talks about so many other situations, and who gets up in the morning and just starts talking like that and just recording themselves and it's just like, but there's an audience and
hey, we all hear, we all listen to him, we all tune in every day because you're waiting to see what craziness is he gonna say next. I think that's
like the Truman Show. It's like the Truman Show. Everybody's watching the Truman Show 24/7. The Truman Show, and it's just like, what's going to happen next until reality hits. He crashed into the wall.
We got to catch up on some of these comments. I've been slacking, guys. I'm sorry. We got local junkers. I think that's John over in Arizona. He says, how many 800 franchises have failed in your experience?
A lot. There's a lot. A lot of them have failed miserably. There's some companies out there like the Kansas City location. They started finding some of those failing franchises and started buying them up and fixing them up and making them better. And even they got to the point where there were so many franchises failing that 1-800-GOT-JUNK created a whole new business called Flywheel that would buy those franchises from the failing ones, rebuy them, put their own leadership in there to turn them around so they can resell it at a higher price because they fix it. Yeah, basically recycling. They buy it for pennies on the dollars because they're failing miserably. They turn it around and then they resell it again.
Yeah, we see their vehicles up for sale once in a while on the social platforms, and you see them.
One of the guys in my area, he went and bought 5 of them, and then he was only up and running 1 year, and then he's out of business, and they're just sitting there rotting. He's hitting me up all the time trying to get me to buy them and all. Richard says, I think Ricky tells a lot of BS and that he starts to believe it and he doesn't remember what's true and what's not. That could very well be. Denise says, Ricky was the first YouTuber junk removal guru and he has branded his service on bullshit. Bottom line, he has worked for him. We all brand ourselves in all kinds of different ways. That is very good statement right there. Junk on, junk off says it's a luxury service. People that can afford us like quality. I agree with that for sure. And then that's what I keep thinking. Like a couple of my clients over in Marin, you know, they got some crazy $10 million houses. And I'm just thinking of Ricky rolling up there. And it's not so much what he's rolling up in, it's more just the attitude and the things that he says and all that.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, yeah, they might pay him that time, but they're never calling him back. You know, I don't think so, man.
Well,
You know?
it might be the state that he's in that you get away with that. But over here, there's just so many more options. People would just say, thank you for coming. Have a good day. And
I
now
don't
you,
know. Texas is a friggin' popping, bro, and you got
uh,
a lot of mega money in Texas, man. So
yeah, but
yeah,
I think here's a lot more emotions. Our
yeah,
clients our clients are a lot more.
they
You
get
really got
butthurt a lot quicker.
you really got to watch what you say within, or even how you pull your vehicle up. If you pull your vehicle up in the wrong way on somebody's property, hey, I didn't want your shit right there. Hey, your contents fluids is leaking on my driveway.
Yep. Could you
Shit.
imagine what Ricky would say? He
Uh,
blamed them.
yeah, he
They owe
blamed
him
them.
money for that.
Yeah. Your driveway ruined my truck.
Local Junker says Ricky thinks 75% COGS is okay. Oh, wait, he does not talk about KPIs. Yeah, I don't think he's not into the whole number game at all. He don't know, not at all. His entire life is on camera, business and personal ego, perhaps. Yes, major
Truman Show.
ego. He actually
Truman Show.
he said that about me too. He was saying that it was my ego, you know, like I got this huge ego, and I'm like thinking in my head, damn, bro, like if that was one of my weaknesses, I would just straight up say that I'm not that guy. But if I had an ego, bro, I don't think I'd be coming into junk removal, going making all these videos, and you know what I mean. So it just doesn't go together, man, because you know that doesn't work out. I could see when people have egos in business, they're willing to kick themselves in the nuts and not make the smartest business moves just to get that ego, you know. And I've seen a lot of the top arm wrestlers in the world that, you know, their egos just ruin their wallets. And I would
Yeah.
I'd see that, I'd be like, how come they're not a millionaire? They got such great character, they got everything it takes. And then I get to know them, and it's the ego that always ruins them, man.
I
Yeah,
like that. I like that, Paul.
there's a great book called Ego is the Enemy, and if I, there's certain times where I want to just ask. I see people on these Facebook groups, and I just want to say, "Hey, what's your address? I'm going to send you this book," because it really is your biggest enemy. Because I've seen so many people that cannot grow and cannot scale because they refuse to learn and refuse to actually obtain more knowledge because they think they know it all, because their ego gets in their way and they'll never grow. The funny thing is, the ones that, when I started, giving advice to people, and I started offering my trainings and coaching and everything else, I was trying to do it for the small guy, for the little guy that's, the newbie, the just starting and everything else. But the people that actually come to me are the guys that are making 7 figures already. Why? Because they're still hungry. Their ego is not getting them. They're still hungry. They want to evolve because they know what got me here will not get me there. So, if their ego, they're going to plateau and they're going to stay there, and that's as big as they're going to get. But these guys are already doing 7 figures and they want to do more. They want to do better. They're still hungry. They know that I need to get to the next level. I need to evolve. And then they call me. My goal here when I started was to help the little guy, but it's the big guys that are coming at me and asking for my advice because they want more, because they
Says a lot
learned
about
a
you
long time.
too, bro.
They learned a long time ago that ego is their biggest enemy, and they got rid of that, and that's how they scaled, and that's how they succeeded.
And it says a lot about you that 7-figure guys are coming seeking you You know what I mean? That's showing that what you're teaching,
You.
yes, teaching is the gold. Oh, Charlie's getting spicy, and Charlie, this is making me think it could be Ricky here, because all of a sudden now it changed. Ricky, Charlie was being nice a minute ago. You all remind me of the movie Mean Girls. Here we go. He's getting spicy. He is getting exactly that attention you are giving him. Yeah, no, Denise, I get it, but he also plays the same game back. You know, anything that we bring up, you know, it's the next. He won't say the name, but it's the next topic on his show. So we kind of go back and forth with each other. We all know we're watching each other's channels, and we're
And
playing.
it's very hard for me to believe that haulers call him every day and ask him for advice. And he says, I was talking to this hauler last night. And it's like, when there's so many more people who are putting a dent in the game, especially, going junk expos and type of, these are some people that they should be calling. Kevin's, the junk expo people. There's just the people who are very successful in what they're doing. These are the people you should be reaching out to, not somebody who is driving a convertible Humvee to a job. Imagine if I pulled up, you pulled up in freaking Marin with a convertible Humvee with a utility trailer. It's just, I don't knock the hustle. I don't knock some people got to use what they got to use, but it's just like, first for me, I got to have AC. I'm sorry. It's hot out here in Northern California. It's hot and it just started, but it's just, I think,
It's a look too, man. It's your pride in your business, man. You want that professional. You want to look the top. Why wouldn't you want to look the top? You're going all in. You're trying to bring the best product there is. You want to look the part too. Charlie says you don't pay to be on the mastermind. Thank you, Charlie, for filling us in. Oh, we got Josh. This is Josh from chapter 2 in Vegas. Is that him, Mr.
Chapter 2 in Vegas.
What
What's
up,
up? What's up,
Josh?
Josh? What's happening, my brother? Thank you for tuning in.
There you go. There's no mastermind here. Laughing out loud. He's talking about Ricky, Charlie. This is like the Three Stooges up here. Ricardo ain't any better, but you all sound dumb. I love it, bro. Junk on, junk off. Never be an old dog that can't learn new tricks. Hell yeah. California is a liberal cesspool. True that, bro. Invite him to come on. Is Charlie Ricardo? Yeah, Denise, we've been thinking that, it's one of the guys. It's definitely one of the guys.
Could be a spy. Could be a spy. One of his guys who are just saying, "Hey, you know what I mean? Infiltrate."
Charlie, you want to come on? Would you like to come on? You're more than welcome to come on and join us, and we could debate anything you want. We would love that for sure.